Afternoons with Dennis Walter on Melbourne's own 3AW.
At 23 to 4, Who's in the Bunny Suit will be coming up just before 4 o'clock today, just ahead of the drive program with Darren Hinch, and a chance for you to win a great prize from Ray's Outdoors. Two Melbourne mums have joined me in the studio, Shay Langford-Jones and Jen Jacoby. Good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Two not completely happy mums with the education system, or what the kids are coming out with at the end of it.
Absolutely. It's actually a little known fact that 20% of our children are coming through our school system being functionally illiterate. And when Jen and I learnt that statistic, we've been teaching for close to 15 years, we had no idea as teachers. When we learnt that statistic, we rightfully worried about our own children.
And Jen, what happened then? You've come up with your own system.
We've started our own business called Brainastics, and we teach preschoolers before they get to primary school the basics of reading and writing. So it's a synthetic phonics program, which is proven to be 99% effective in teaching reading and writing. So we would love it to be in schools. That's what we would really love.
You see, when I went to primary school, and admittedly it was a small country school, we had 14 in the entire, from grade 1 through to grade 6, because it was one of those, it was heading in the decades before all those schools got amalgamated into bigger units. Now, I basically knew, and I was never a great kid at school, but I did love the fact that we knew pretty well how to spell most things before I got out of primary school.
Absolutely. If you speak to any teachers who have been teaching for more than 30 years, they will be telling you they knew this. They knew all along that phonics was the way to go. But for the last 30 years, we've been teaching a different program called a whole language program. And unfortunately, it's failed our children.
Love to hear from parents on this, 96900 693 or 13 13 32. Can you explain what phonics are?
Yes, phonics is teaching the sounds. So there are 44 sounds in the English language. And what we do is we teach all 44 sounds. We teach also how to blend those sounds together to make words. For example, d, o, g is dog. We teach children how to hear sounds in words so they can write them. Children cannot write until they can hear there's a k and an a and a t in cat. And
so what have we been teaching for those sounds, for the k? We've been teaching C.
We've been teaching initial sounds. So in a whole language program, it's a lot of visual learning. So you look at a word, you look at the shape of the word, you get picture clues, and you almost guess. And it would be, this is a cat, this is a dog, this is a bird. So you memorise this is a, and then you're getting picture clues for the other ones. And they'll do a sound a week. So for 1 week, they might do the sound for cat, but they'll only look at it as the initial sound. So they won't look at it, what's the word with k in the middle of it? Neck. They won't say neck, that let's listen for the sound k in neck. They'll just look at it as an initial sound. So they're not pulling the words apart. They're just a lot of rote learning, a lot of memorising.
the other difference is a lot of schools are teaching the letters of the alphabet as opposed to the sounds. So, for example, my son at school recently did the letter O, and they came up with onion, which has an and oval, which has an O, and ostrich, which has an O. And all these different sounds are made by the letter O, but they weren't differentiated.
Yeah, it's but I don't remember ever having that confusion. So that if they're not differentiating them, then the kids aren't really learning.
So you were part of the 80% that did well in the whole language. If you're in a whole language program, but there is 20% that, I mean, you can ask. We get questions from high school teachers that say, "Can you please come and teach my students?" Because they just don't know how to read and write, and that's because they never were taught synthetic phonics. They don't have the basics to pull apart a word and spell a word, put it back together.
Love to hear from parents, 96900 693, or grandparents indeed. You might have noticed whether the kids are learning quickly and learning properly, 96900 693, or maybe you've got someone in the family who has come out the other end with, and maybe it's you. I'd love to hear from you, 96900 693 or 1313 32. How long then does it take, or if the kids are taught from those early stages, like what you're doing, how... You can only imagine what it does for them from a confidence point of view, but how difficult is it for them to learn a fair bit before they actually even get to primary school?
Look, we've taught well over 100 children now, and all the feedback we're getting from the parents the children have now started school, is that their child is doing well, has confidence, and is ahead of the other children in their class. The new national curriculum is having an emphasis on phonics. However, we feel it's not enough at the moment. At the moment, they are suggesting that all 44 sounds be taught over 2 years. We would suggest all 44 sounds should be taught in the first term of prep.
Okay, Margaret, good afternoon.
Hi, Dennis. Look, I've just tuned in. I wasn't even sure who I was speaking to, but it's the most sensible thing I've heard for such a long time. I'm an old teacher. I've been retired for 20 years, but this was my philosophy always, and I could always teach kids to spell and to read. And they've gone off with so much other poppycock since that I really love what whoever it was who was speaking.
Jen and Shay.
I absolutely endorse what she said.
Well,
Thank you, Margaret.
Okay.
Chris, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dennis. I have a grandson of 4 who has dyspraxia. I'm just wondering whether the girls could explain to me what their program is.
Absolutely. This program, Synthetic Phonics, is actually being used worldwide. The UK is now mandating all their schools to teach it. New South Wales.
So it's getting through.
Absolutely. Slowly but surely. New South Wales at the moment is the only state in Australia who are forcing their schools to teach a proper synthetic phonics program.
And how's it working there?
Well, they've only just started in the last 6 months.
Well,
I think
good.
it was September. Absolutely. It's getting there. Results from the UK and the US are that this is working. Their 20% illiteracy rate is reducing. Now, with children that have certain learning difficulties, what we've found in the past is that that 20% of children that are failing, we usually blame them. There must be something wrong with those children, why they are not learning to read under our system, instead of looking at our system itself.
Well, further down the track, won't we be able to do some comparisons, Jen, between New South Wales and Victorian children?
Hopefully we'll get it before then. We're hoping this national curriculum that is currently in a draft form, they're doing consultation process at the moment. So Shay and I are going to be very vocal in trying to get it into Victorian schools so that we can't do that comparison, thanks.
Right.
So that we can teach them properly and get them going from the start, get that basis.
We'll take a break and be back with Jen and Shay, 2 Melbourne mums who are teachers and concerned about the future for the kids if they can't just do basic reading and writing and all of that, all the simple things that it seems are not getting through.